So one of the biggest things that I learned early on was if I don't know something, I can learn it. And that was pretty big. And I think that anyone going through a divorce or post-divorce even, this is super helpful. If you can see it, and I actually think, Tania, you've done a lot of this, like learning absolutely everything that comes into your path. This concept of if there's like a degree curriculum, I can actually look those things up and learn them myself. If there is a module that is posted online, I can learn it myself. That was absolutely huge for me. And when I started building my business, it was really and truly, it was make or break. Um, my husband and I, we were newly married and we were both super poor. Um, we were just so poor. We were just in love and happy, but we both had debt, lots of debt, nearly $100,000 in debt. And gosh, I think combined we were making like less than 40,000 a year. So no chance of ever paying off that debt. And I was like, we've got to figure out something. So I'm just going to figure something out and try. And I had a few different options that I was looking at. And for me, freelancing, taking on side gigs, clients, etc., was like the single best path for quickly monetizing. So I did.
And when you say taking on clients and doing, like, what were you taking? Like, what was your first gig? Like, what was it?
Oh, it was $15 an hour. It was marketing on social media for Mrs. Winter's Chicken and Biscuits. Um, yeah, and I was their marketing consultant, but they were like super new to their resurgence. And so, yeah, it was a low paying gig, and I learned so much through that. Mm-hmm.
So when you started, like, so did you have some experience in social media? Were you just kind of like a normal young 20-something person who was playing around with making videos and posting them? Like, how did you figure out like this was a skill set of yours?
Yeah, this was 11 years ago. So I was 24. I didn't even have my third kid yet. And I was actually working full time as a hairstylist. And Mrs. Winter's Chicken and Biscuits, the CEO's wife, came and sat in my chair for highlights. And I gave her the best highlights in the super honest, but we started talking about like business and Shark Tank and understanding how to like make companies take off online. And she's like, could we hire you? And I was like, hire me? What? She's like, yeah, could we hire you for social media and marketing consulting? And I was like, this is crazy. You do know I've never done this before. And she's like, that's totally fine. I'd love to hire you. And so she hired me, and they actually instilled a lot of kind of confidence into me as a young 20, 24 is such
Yeah.
a baby still. And so it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
And so you took that skill set and somebody took a chance on you, which is great. And we all, I talk about when I do some executive coaching, I talk about walking through doors that open for you.
Yes.
And that anybody who believes that they should have a concrete path is crazy, because it is really just about when opportunities come knocking. If you are one of those people who are like, yeah, I'll try it, I'll do it, walk through those doors. Because it's usually the doors that you're following a person. The woman that was sitting in front of you in your chair, you walked through that door because you were following her, right? You had some sort of faith in her, that she felt good about you. And you said you learned so much from that experience because you were surrounded by people who were supporting you. And I think that's really key in anybody who's trying something new and trying to start a new endeavor. Walk through those doors and don't worry about knocking on them too. My dad did this really amazing thing. Like he was an engineer and he had a midlife crisis after his divorce and moved up to Vail, Colorado and decided to teach skiing. He's got his PhD from MIT. And so he invented the first fiberglass tennis racket.
No.
Never made any good money on that because he wasn't a good businessman. He just was a really good engineer.
Yeah.
And he ended up working at a bike shop in the summers and teaching skiing in the winters, but he knew he couldn't support himself that way. So a guy walks in and he's helping him with his bikes, and he asked the guy what he did. And he's like, oh, I run this company called the Closet Factory. And my dad's like, what do they do? He's like, well, we design custom closets. We
Yeah.
install custom closets. And my dad's like, I could do that. I'm an engineer. He's like, do you have anybody working up here? And the guy's like, well, I actually have to drive all the way up here from Denver every time we get a call for somebody wanting a closet. My dad's like, you should hire me. My dad worked for that company for 25 years and retired with them and made really good money and kind of oversaw. They did closets and garages and entertainment centers. He's a contractor. So when I tell people those stories, I say, you know what? Sometimes you just have to knock on that door. Other times the door opens, right? And you walked through that door. You walked through that open door. And then how did you take that to the next level, Rachel? How did you go from like that small little marketing job to like being this phenom online?
Well, so for starters, Mrs. Winter's Chicken and Biscuits, which I'm so grateful for still to this day. I started with them doing just odd jobs, $15 an hour, some marketing, some social media. And then over time, they were like, we want more. We want more of your time. We want more of your attention. Let's increase it to $2,500 a month. And I was like, okay, this is still my first job. This is fantastic. And we were growing everything, which is fantastic. Then from there, I actually jumped into working full time as a marketing manager of an 500 tech company. And that was a cool one. It was cool in that it was fun work. The actual work was kind of boring because it was switches and network hardware and all of.
You were promoting it on social media?
Yeah, it was rough. I was like, okay, we can get super creative here or super boring. Either will work. And then I just started securing clients at first 300 a month and then 500 a month, 1,500 a month, 2,500 a month. It was right around the point where I switched to 3,500 to 4,500 a month that I learned the power of the pivot with clients, where if you're not seeing a result quickly, you have to quickly pivot. So I always do this within about a month. And I'm like, oh, we got to change things up. It's not working. Let's get some things going. And that's when we started doing a lot with like ads and funnels and more with clients. It was basically like to whatever end, like we have to do what it takes to get the return for clients. And that's when I started being able to charge $7,500, $11,500, up to $25,000 a month. And it's because we pivot really fast versus a lot of agencies will take 3 to 6 months before they'll pivot and be like, oh, something isn't working. And I'm like, nope, we've got to make this happen fast or else they're mad and it sucks and they've spent a ton of money and they're not getting results. So I'm a big believer in like, let's find the path to the ROI ASAP.